into the Badlands Season 1 finale, Hand of Five Poisons. I think as a season finale for this show, this was a really good one. I think they pulled out a lot of crazy stops for where the show can, end up for a season 2. I don't know if we officially are getting a season 2. I mentioned this in my last review, but Daniel Wu, who plays Sunny, he mentioned that there's kind of talks that the show will be getting a season 2, and I really hope that's official sometime very very soon because I love the show. And I mentioned this before. It sucks that it's such a short first season, but that's pretty much most shows, if they're not on network television. But I thought it was a really good season finale. I think where everything branched off, where pretty much every single character is just thrown into a new situation. We don't get to see the situation, but outside of I think the widow and Tilda, everyone else is just like, holy crap, this is brand new information to me. So I'm really excited to see what's going to happen there because with Quinn's whole thing, we had basically his entire kingdom fell. We had, Quinn, Jade, Lydia, and Ryder. Lydia gets kicked out because Jade actually did end up poisoning herself, which I think that was like the one guess I had that was actually right. I think everything else I was totally wrong about. I was like, okay, Quinn knows about Sunny and MK, so maybe he'll toy with them a little and try to give them the benefit of the doubt. Totally wrong about that. It was like, nope, bring Sunny here. You betrayed me. Lock him up. Bring me MK, and basically go kill uh, crap, go kill Vale. And then I think like the only other thing I really had was Jade and Lydia, and it's like it's either one or the other. It's like Lydia actually did it again, which both sides of the fence was totally possible. It's like Lydia could actually be trying to help her, or she could be kind of playing this role and she wants to kill her again, or kill the other competition again. And it does turn out that Jade poisoned herself, and so Lydia gets cast out. Then that leaves, of course, Jade, Quinn, and Ryder. And then we have the ending fight where not only does Ryder reveal himself, but Quinn gets stabbed by Sunny, and so that leaves Jade and Ryder as the only two. But the way they left it open, and I don't know if this is because the writers don't know exactly what they want to do with this character, or if it's like a contract thing with the actor or something, maybe even just with the series in general with the network. But they left it open. Like, I know he got stabbed through the stomach, and they did the dramatic thing where he's like, oh crap, and he falls to the ground. But he could survive that. Basically, this whole episode is about the widow surviving when Sunny did that last time. So, it's different because she got, sliced and he actually got stabbed through. But I feel like it's just possible. They totally left it open. It wasn't just like, boom, he's dead and that's all there is to it. It's kind of open to whatever they decide. It's one or the other. And I think depending on what they do for season 2, that'll really change Ryder's storyline through the second season. Because at this point, if Quinn is dead, Ryder could basically go back home and be like, he died, a crazy battle, he's dead. I guess it's just you and me, Jade. And he basically has everything he wanted. So either he gets everything he wants, he gets to be with the woman that he wants to be with. He gets rid of his father. I guess if he wanted to, he could bring his mother back and I guess, try to work that out somehow. I don't know if that would actually play out too well, but maybe he could try to fix that if he wanted to. But if they decide to keep Quinn alive, then that's totally not the case. If it's basically really great or really bad. They're like two ends of the spectrum because he'll either be, have everything he wants and he'll be at home, or he'll be on the run from his own father and he'll be cast out. He won't have his mother, I guess he could go to his mother and his grandfather if he really wanted to, but he wouldn't have his mother. He wouldn't have the woman that he loves. He, of course, would be hunted by his father, and he'd have no home. He'd just be like a nomad, and maybe he could team up with Jacoby. I guess that's possible. I don't know what the deal is with Zephyr. I don't know if she lived or died, so that could be another thing. If Ryder wanted to try to work his way in with Jacoby, he'd be like, "Oh, you need a new." I can't remember the term that they use for like their second in command, but you need like another right hand man. So, hey, let me fill that space. I'm a great fighter. Obviously, I know the ins and out, of Quinn's compound, so he could also use that as his way to get into Jacoby's, get on Jacoby's good side. But basically, it's like one or the other. It's really great for him or really bad for him, and it kind of just depends on what they decide to do with Quinn, if he lives or if he dies. And either way, still great because of course he'll be wounded and have sort of this broken home compared to this first season where Quinn is just like, I'm in power outside of the headache stuff. It's like I'm in power. This is mine. That's mine. Everything's pretty much great outside of obviously the whole war thing happening, but fairly simple stuff. So I'm really curious to see what they do with that because they totally left it open and it's like, well, either Ryder's gonna have a great life or he's gonna have a crappy life. And even if he had the great life, I think with pretty much all the talk that they constantly had this season about other barons kind of wanting to attack Quinn anyway, he'd probably go straight into a battle because other people would be like, oh, well, it's not Quinn. His son probably isn't as good of a fighter as him. Let's go there and wipe everybody and everything out. And that could easily be the case. So either way, it could be bad for him, but I think he'd rather do it with Jade by his side than, he's on the run from his dad and has nobody else too. So we'll see how that plays out. If we get a season 2, which I really really hope we do. But I'm looking forward to that. Vale is kind of just in the wind. Like who knows what's gonna end up happening with her? She saw Sunny's blades, I guess technically it was just one blade that got broken up. But who knows what's gonna happen with her? Of course, MK's been taken, and so now he's with these monks who apparently have the same power as him, and they have complete control. So can't wait to get an explanation on that. We actually find out a lot of interesting stuff about MK's power in this finale, and it's not really exposition wise, outside of like the widow, which I'm sure she's fine as well. I don't think they're gonna kill the widow off. I mean, I know they kind of had it where it's like Tilda has that somewhat moment of hesitation where it's like, oh, she has these options. I don't think there's any worry there. I think she's gonna give her the actual cure, and it's just gonna continue on from there. And I think it might get crazier in the second season. Like she'll save her now, and then maybe she'll come to regret it when things get worse in the next season. But at this point, I'm not too worried about her. It's more, it's definitely more Quinn that it's in a really weird state of limbo. I'm like, for the widow, I'm like, I'm sure she's fine. I don't think they're gonna kill her off. That would be crazy though if they did give 2 definitive scenes and it's like there goes Quinn and there goes the widow like 100%. That would be really interesting. That I was kind of thinking that when they even brought up the option of what Tilda could do, I was like, man, that would be crazy if they actually killed Quinn and they killed the widow in the first season, and it's like that's 2 barons completely gone, and I guess Tilda would take over for the widow, or they would. There would be no official leader, but they kind of still keep, together. And then I would assume Jade and Ryder would, take over for Quinn. But I thought that would have been really crazy if they did. I'm kind of glad they didn't because I do still love these characters. And also, just from an actor standpoint, I'd kind of hate to see these actors who I think everyone's done really great this season. I'd hate to see them all get, 2 of the people get killed off in the first season. And I think this show has a lot of longevity, which... once again, hope we get a season 2 because I think it would be even greater and even crazier than this one. But I'm sure she's fine. But we find out, like as far as MK's power, you can have the power and lose it, I guess, or maybe just have complete control over it where you don't freak out whatsoever. I feel like if she still had the power, we would have seen her use it. I think the perfect example for that was her going up against Quinn. I think she would have done that. And we would have had another level to this is why she wanted MK. And it kind of shows that it's true that she is, or she's not the only person, but she's definitely one of the few people on Earth that can actually, that could have helped MK control his power. And, it adds, of course, a huge question, like, how did she lose the power? Because she says, I used to be like him, but then we see the other people who have absolute control over their power and basically, almost kill Sunny. They just destroyed him during that end scene. That was kind of hard to watch. I was like, man, he's like my favorite. He's basically like the main character, and he's really a good guy. But I was like, man, they just destroyed him. And then they're like, all punching him at once and stuff in like a triangle. And then they shoot him through one wall, and then he goes through another brick wall, and all the bricks fall on him. I was like, wow, he got really messed up. And then he gets kidnapped, so really crazy. But back to the powers, I'm jumping all over the place. But it does bring up a huge question as to how the widow lost her ability to kind of go into like the that crazy state, because we see the three monks that have complete control. So it brings up the question of where she was when she had it, um, how she lost the power. Did she choose to get rid of the power because she didn't want it or was scared of it? Maybe she killed someone that she actually cared about, and she decided whatever crazy thing happened to allow her to give up the power she chose to because she didn't want to hurt the people she cared about or something like that. And then of course there's the whole big question, and this comes more from the side of the three monks who have control of the power. What the heck is going on with that? Because with Lydia having known this information, it makes me wonder if she used to be that way as well, where she used to have the power, but she, gave it up, or maybe she didn't train enough and kind of lost it. But I don't know. I mean, with MK, is basically it's just like he gets cut, and then, that's it. So there's really no like, oh, you don't go crazy or anything. It's automatic. So I don't really know what to expect from that, but I'm looking forward to some answers. And he's, it was kind of funny. Like he ended this season the way he started off, and it's with him in a trunk, because technically that's his first scene. Is when they open up the trunk and he's inside of it, and the final scene is him inside of this trunk, and it's them in like this crazy desert. Basically, I was really wondering. I'm like, what constitutes as being outside of the Badlands? Like, how far do you have to go to be outside the Badlands? And we do get to see, it's, I guess it's the city from the amulet, and it's basically like, sort of like a power plant almost. I'm assuming that's what that was, and it was meant to, the amulet basically kind of plays up the idea of what it actually looks like, and it's like, oh, this is what it should be, or maybe this is what it used to be, because maybe there was an actual city there with buildings and things like that. But I thought it was interesting. They show the plan, and it's like, oh, that's what that is. But of course, when you look at the amulet, it's like skyscrapers. It's almost like the Emerald City from The Wizard of Oz. So I guess that's kind of like the image it's meant to be, or maybe, like I said, there was an actual city, but at this point it's like, oh, the amulet and the actual place, very different. But huge question as to what's going on with that, and if Lydia did have the power. She of course knew about the city, but it doesn't exactly mean the same thing that she did know about the secret powers and stuff like that. So there are a lot of questions, and that was raised in the very first episode because she knew the amulet. And she totally let Sunny get away with MK, which was never brought up again. That actually was something that they never really brought up. I thought for sure something would happen there, but she never brought it up to Sunny. She never, of course, said anything to Quinn, or even, I don't think she even had a scene where she was, in the same room as MK either. So, they still kind of have that where she can kind of hold on to that. And if she ends up encountering Sunny again, who knows where he's going now as well. But if she does encounter him again, or MK, which I think is much more likely, we can kind of get the explanation as to why she decided to let Sunny go. So, it was definitely a great finale. I'm looking forward to season 2. I really, really hope we get a second season, because I think this is a great show. I know there are a lot of other story elements that I'm trying to remember while I'm talking, but there's just a lot of crazy good stuff. One thing that I thought was interesting, anyone and everyone, when they talked to Vale, was like, oh, baby, baby, baby. I thought that was interesting, because the whole time, it seemed like nobody knew. But Quinn was like, I'll raise your son, or, I'll raise your baby like it's my own. When Vale went to see the widow, she was like, oh, baby. I think there was someone else in there that mentioned that she was having a kid as well. I was like, man, did everyone just know the whole time, or did everyone just figure it out finally? But I thought that was pretty interesting. I was like, oh, I guess they all knew it's not just, she's Sunny's girlfriend. It was like, no, she's the mother of his child. And it seemed like everyone finally figured it out all at once. I was like, oh, they're just, throwing that around like it's nothing now. But I thought that was pretty funny that they kind of had that. There is a scene with Quinn and MK when he's talking about the White House, and that, I mentioned this before about this being like a weird sort of future and stuff. That basically solidifies it. There was other stuff as well that was, like the snow globe thing and the vinyl records and stuff like that. And like the gas station thing. If there was a gas station in that last episode, they kind of just walked past it. But, it kind of solidifies what used to be and how weird this world is. Like, it's in the future, but it seems like it's in the past sort of deal. So that kind of confirmed it in this episode, which I thought was cool. Of course, the action itself, very great. Definitely loved that. Hard to tell where the characters are going to end up. I love how everyone, like I said, everything is just kind of broken down. Everyone is in such a new position outside of Jade and possibly Ryder, like I said, depends on what they decide to do with Quinn. And then the Widow and Tilda, I think that's more of an emotional setup than actual, like, worlds, completely destroyed at this point. Because for everyone else, it's just like, Sunny's been kidnapped, MK's been kidnapped, who knows where Vale is, Jade's on her own, possibly, Quinn has been stabbed, who knows what's going to happen there, Ryder, either he's going home or he's on the run, Jacoby is basically fine, he's totally fine, he kind of lost, but I don't think he got killed, he got sent through the wall, and I believe that was the end of his portion of the fight, but I don't think he's dead, and I don't believe Zephyr's dead either. Although I thought for sure after MK killed the one guy, he just stepped on his neck and killed him, which was really crazy. I thought for sure he was gonna pick her up and twist her head with one hand. I thought he was gonna kill her that way, but the fact that he kind of lifted her up and punched her gives a little bit of hope that she could, kind of end up going into season 2 and she might be wounded with everyone from that fight against MK, but who knows? I think this is a great finale. A pretty amazing way, honestly, to end a season where it's just the world, the worlds are so different. And we still have a lot of other Barons to meet. That was something I was kind of looking forward to, which I knew we weren't going to get this season because it was basically just Jacoby, but, the Widow as well. Every time they call her the Widow, all I think of is she's kind of on her own, but she is technically a Baron. But it's the 3 of them, and I believe they mentioned there are 5, possibly 6 Barons. So we have, excuse me, at least 2 more. So I'm looking forward to that and kind of seeing their forces and those characters and how powerful they are. But great way to end the season. Action, of course, like I said, really great. It was very awesome, honestly, to see Sunny stab Quinn. Also, this is very important, actually. Sunny and Vale, in general, who knows what's going on, gonna really happen with their relationship, because Sunny, or Vale, I guess, finally talks to Sunny about her parents' death, and him being there, and how he could have stopped Quinn from doing it, but he didn't. And I don't really know where that could go. I don't know if they would officially just be done, and I don't think they would, because, of course, she was still upset at the end when she saw his katana was, shattered. So it still affects her, of course, but I don't really know what to think about that. I think it'll be fine considering everything they have together. They're having a kid and, something like that. You can, it's not a minor thing though. I was about to say you can get over the little stuff, but dead parents isn't little. So I guess I can't say that. So I don't really know where that's going to go at this point, but that was pretty interesting. And like I said, who knows where. I mean, she could technically stay in the city, but considering everyone kind of knows her secret, and they didn't have it where she saw Quinn's body or anything like that, so, she could still assume that he's out there, and then still have the Widow, who she doesn't know if she can trust or not, and who may or may not live because of what Tilde may or may not choose to do, so, who knows where that's going, who knows where any of this stuff is going, but it's definitely exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing some new locations for sure, based on what they're doing with both Sunny and MK, because MK is going off to, I guess you could call it a sanctuary, with all those people and everything, and then Sunny is going off on the ship, and who knows where he could end up. So, really looking forward to that. Of course, definitely want to know what you guys thought about this season finale, so please comment below, let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. We've only had 6 episodes, so I would love to know if you have a favorite moment or just a favorite episode in general, definitely I want to know what it is. Favorite fight scene, I think, is a really good one considering the show. Um, and of course, if you guys want a season two, odds are if you're watching, my little review on this, you probably want a season two for the show. Obviously, I do. I love this show. I think it's just really great. It definitely has a very cool wire fu martial arts. It reminds me a lot of old martial arts movies, which I love like crazy. Which reminds me of a really awesome moment from this episode when the third monk has MK and he just drops him, but he like rolls down his leg and he catches him and like slides him off his foot. I was like, that is 100% like an 80s martial arts movie move, and it's just like a super cool, insanely, it's subtle as far as what he did, but it's also really over the top because that just defied all forms of physics. And I was like, that's just very cool. I love that. I just really love that. And as far as a favorite fight scene of mine, I really do love the first episode fight scene when Sunny fought the guys at the end. Love that. Also love the first fight because I think, despite what we've seen in the rest of the episodes, I still kind of hold that very first fight as one of the craziest because he was like constantly like breaking their legs and stuff, and the one guy, he literally flipped his legs over his head. It's like, yeah, that kind of sticks out in my head as like the most over the top fight out of the series, as far as, despite them running up walls and all the crazy stuff they did, I still saw that as like the fakest fight that they did. I still loved it, of course. It was just the most crazy over the top with all the bone breaking and just everything he did, and especially him bending a guy in half. So that really sticks out. But the first fight at the end, definitely one of my favorites. Sunny going to save Ryder when they were in like that factory. Love that because it was just all over the place. Really great one. And of course, the last episode, Sunny versus the Widow. I think that was the second time. Really love that. Like just them switching weapons and stuff. I was like, that is really cool. So love that funeral, war sort of area. Very great. But overall, love the show. Love this finale. Obviously, really hope we get a season two. Definitely want to know what you guys thought about it, like I said. So please comment below, let me know. And of course, thanks for watching.